Hi everyone, Leo here from Zen Habits, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to form the habit of exercise if that's a struggle for you, some important tips for that, and then how to level it up from the beginning to, well, where I am, which is at a pretty good level, but I'm not necessarily the world's fittest person, or an exercise expert or a fitness coach or anything like that. So I will tell you how to get to a pretty decent level of fitness, starting from the beginning. So this is a guide that will take you through different levels and how to actually create that for yourself. Before I do, I want to encourage you to leave a comment here in this video, a topic you'd like me to talk about. So I talk about anything from habits and exercise and health and fitness to simplicity and minimalism, to leadership and training yourself to face resistance, to relationships and mindfulness and much more. So feel free to share what your problem is, what your question is, and I'll likely create a video for it in the future. So thank you for interacting with this. It really helps me if you comment. Okay, so the exercise habit. So let's imagine you're where I was in 2005, right? So 2005, I am sedentary. It's not like I've never exercised. I exercised when I was in high school and a little bit in my 20s here and there, but for the most part, I was pretty sedentary. I was a decent amount overweight, about 40, 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And hadn't really stuck to an exercise program in a while. I had tried, running and walking and gym and all kinds of different things I saw in like Men's Health magazine and things like that. So it was a struggle and I felt really bad about myself. So if you're in that place, this first section of this video is for you. So how do we get started? So first of all, start as small as possible. So what I would do would tell myself all I have to do is lace up my shoes and get out the door. It was such an easy proposition that it felt silly to say that, but I'm like, you know what? That's my commitment. I will do that every day of the week. And so some days I would get out the door and go for a walk for a few minutes. Other times I would, go start walking and then feel like I could jog a little bit. I wouldn't jog for very long because I didn't have the fitness for it. But my goal was to get started with something, not to push myself to the best that I could do. This is actually a mistake that a lot of people make, is like, I need to really push myself because if I push myself, then I'll get to where I want to go. But that is actually a huge mistake, because what that leads to is exhaustion. And the next day you're not able to do it. You've spent all of your money on the day one. When I say money, I mean your energy, your capacity to take on exercise. So you spend all your money on day 1 or 2 or 3, you won't actually have any left over. So pace yourself. And this is a huge mistake. This is a mistake people make when they run a marathon, is they run the first 10 miles because they feel so good, pretty strong. Second 10 miles, they struggle. Last 6 miles, they're like, I can't make it, and they stop because they didn't pace themselves. And so if you want to pace yourself when it comes to spending your exercise money, start with just a small amount. And day 1, first week, super small. If you can have a successful day, first week, then increase it by a little bit. Because now you have built some trust in yourself. Now you have proven that you can actually show up for this. Now you know that this is not that hard and you can actually do it. And now you can say, okay, get out the door, and all you have to do is go for a walk and then run for 2 minutes. So, we've increased it a little bit. Go for a walk and run for 2 minutes. And eventually it's like, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes, run for 5. So we start to increase it slowly, but 1 week at a time, not every day. Don't increase every day. Wait for a week. And if you don't have the discipline to wait a week, then what I want you to do is increase only every 2 or 3 days by the smallest micro amount possible. But I really want to encourage you to have the discipline to wait for a week. Now, this is our impatience at play. If we want to like get to where we want to go already, I want to be, where I'd like to be in a year from now. I want to be there this week. That's impatience. And this is what gets in the way for most of us. So practice some patience, practice some discipline. Discipline is not increasing faster than I'm recommending. Small increases every week. And yeah, first few weeks, it's going to seem ridiculous, but after a month, you'll have done about a month. Now, there are going to be days when you miss. This is a reality of this thing. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is to think of those days as a part of this. We don't want to think of our exercise habit as having to be perfect. Every single day, I've checked it off and I don't miss a single day. I think it's a bit of a harmful approach, which is called the Seinfeld method. Jerry Seinfeld would write every day and put a red X and every day that he did it on his calendar and try and get that streak to not stop. It's a really cool idea until you inevitably miss one day. And maybe you don't miss it the first month or second month or third month, but someday you will miss a day. And often it's actually in the first week or two. And that day you've broken a streak and it is incredibly discouraging. People don't start again. And the real practice is miss a day, start the next day. Miss a day, start the next day. Miss a day, start the next day. Now, I'm not saying you should do it every other day. I'm saying whenever you do miss a day, think of it as this is an opportunity to practice one of the key habit skills. Start small and start again when I've fallen off. If you can master those two skills, you will be 99% there to a great exercise habit. I'm going to give you a few more tips, but those would be the two most important ones. The third tip would be enjoy it. Actually have a way to have fun. If you go out for a walk or a run, listen to some music that you like. Listen to a podcast. Maybe it's not a run or a walk. Maybe you go and play basketball or soccer. Maybe you go for a swim and enjoy yourself at the beach or the lake or wherever you go. So that would be one thing, is do it something that you like. Listen to something you like. Maybe a podcast that feels really good or an audiobook. I love listening to audiobooks. Enjoy the outdoors. If there's an outdoor area nearby that's enjoyable to you, go for a freaking hike. Love being outdoors. Another way to enjoy it is to do it with other people. So go for a walk or a run with a friend. Have that be a nice time to shoot the breeze. Gossip all you like, just talk and share, things you're learning with each other. It could be your partner. It could be your kids if they're old enough. People sometimes will push their kids in a stroller as they run. Pull them behind you as you bike. Let them play nearby, on a playground while you work out and do some push-ups. So find a way to enjoy it. Play, doing it with others, listening to music or an audiobook or a podcast, enjoying the outdoors. These are really important things. Now, some days it's going to be uncomfortable and you're going to feel a little bit tired. And on those days, I want you to do a thing that I'm going to call auto-regulation, which is when you're tired or uncomfortable, scale it back and just do the smallest amount possible. So maybe you've been progressing for 3 weeks and you're like, today I'm just tired. Okay, great. Put your shoes on, get out the door. That's all you had to do that day. That's going back to day one, but that's important, is to auto-regulate. Go back to the scale it back to the level that you're able to do. So now, you actually, all you did is actually put your shoes on and get out the door, and you're outside and you sit there and you're like, I did that. That's actually something. So I'm really working on my discipline, but I'm not forcing myself to kill myself on a day when I just don't have it. I'm super tired. I had a hard day. I'm just going to put my shoes on and go outside. Maybe once I get out there, I'm like, you know what? I like the outdoors. I'm going to go for a walk for a few minutes, but that's not required. You don't have to run. You don't have to kill yourself. Please do not overdo it. If you need a rest, do the smallest amount possible. Go out and walk for 2 seconds. That's all I care about. And yeah, some days it's better just to fully rest if you're that exhausted. But for a lot of days, it's like, yeah, actually, I'm super tired, but I could go outside. It's not that hard. And that's what we want to do, is like try and do the smallest amount possible. Auto-regulate depending on how tired you are, what your body's feeling, what kind of time you have, what you've got going on. But sometimes when we're busy and we have a lot of stress going on, getting outside for a couple of minutes is actually exactly what we needed. And so don't give up on that gift just because you're stressed and busy. Okay, so let's imagine you've been progressing here. You've been starting small. You've been increasing over each week. You auto-regulate depending on what you've got going on. You enjoy the exercise. Now you want to level up. Okay, great. To level up, I encourage you to level up in tiny steps, obviously, but over time. So look at the long term as opposed to this month or this week. We want to have the long range. And this will allow us to have a scale that is appropriate. So if in a year you want to bench press 200 pounds, I don't know if that's a goal of yours, but let's say it is. This week, all I have to do is do some push-ups, because I will get there, but I need to give myself time to scale up. Next week, I'm going to try and do 10 push-ups a day. The week after, 15, then 20. And then once I've done that, then I can start doing a barbell with just the barbell, a barbell bench press with just the barbell, or dumbbell ones with 10 pounds or 15 pounds. And slowly we're going to increase. So if you do exercises with reps, like I'm talking about here, so push-ups, dumbbells, barbell type exercises, what I want you to do is to increase every workout for a little while. But the increase might be 1 extra rep. So if I did 5 reps the last time, I'm going to do 6 this time, 7. Or I take a break after a set, and I take a 2-minute break, and then I go and do a second set. Now I'm doing 2 sets, but not that many reps. And so we increase either sets or reps each time. Or if I've increased sets and reps to, let's say, 10 reps, 3 sets, I'm going to add a little bit of weight this time. And I'm going to go back to 5. 5 reps, 3 sets. Now next time, 3 sets of 6, 3 sets of 7, 3 sets of 8, 3 sets of 9, 3 sets of 10. And then eventually, after I've done the 3 sets of 10, go back to 3 sets of 5, but with slightly heavier weight. So we're progressing every single time. This is the idea for strength training, is progressive overload. You can do the same thing with push-ups. Add more reps and more sets. You could add a little bit of weight, put your toddler on your back, or a little bit of a weight on your back. And with non-strength exercises, what we want to do is increase slowly over time. So increase week by week as opposed to day by day. But each week, say I'm going to add in the equivalent of about a minute extra per week, per workout. So today, instead of doing 10 minutes of running, I'll do 11. And then 11 the next day, 11 the next day, and so forth. Next week, it'll be 12 minutes each time. This is slower than the 10% rule, but it will be safer. People tend to think the 10% rule is too slow. 10% is like 10% increase week over week. So increase slowly over time. The next idea for progressing to the next level is to take rests every 3 weeks. So where I'm increasing. After 3 weeks of that, I'm going to take the 4th week as a rest week, where I scale back to where I was 3 weeks ago. And then I go back to where I was. So, okay, let's say on week 1, I'm at this level. Week 2, I increase it. Week 3, I increase it. Then on week 4, I go back to the level of week 1. Then on week 5, I go back to the level of week 3. And then on week 6, I increase from week 5. Week 7, I increase from week 5. Then on week 8, I go back to the level of week 5. Then on week 9, I go back to the level of week 7. So this is a little bit complicated, but hopefully you can get that we progress for 3 weeks, then we regress in the 4th week. Then we start a new 4-week cycle where we progress starting from where we were at week 3. So that's a little bit complicated, but the idea is we're building rest in by deloading, by going back in how much we're loading ourselves after 3 weeks, so every 4th week. This will allow your body to recover. And at this point, I want to make sure that you have adequate rest days within the week. So if you are exercising and progressing to the next level, what I really want you to do is have at least 2 rest days a week, maybe 3. Full rest days in the week, or you just go out for a really easy walk. Okay. The next tip for progressing is to do it with others. If you're running, join a running club, join a race. If you're walking, join a walking group. Do it with a friend or your partner. If you are lifting weights, find a workout partner. My best weight workouts have been when I have a workout partner that I might keep for like 6 months to a year. I've had some great workout partners because we just show up, we do our workouts together, we spot each other, and this is really motivating and it keeps you on track. I ran my only ultra marathon with someone else, one of my best friends at the time. And so a lot of times you can train with someone else. I've trained for 10Ks while running a lot of my runs with my wife. So do it with someone else. Okay. 3rd chapter is how do we keep advancing beyond that? Well, there's a key skill, which we're going to call auto-regulation. You could hear it in chapters 1 and 2 of this video, which in chapter 1, I said, scale back to the very beginning on days when you're really tired or you just don't have the capacity. In chapter 2, where I talked about progressing, I talked about having rest days each week and then deload weeks every 4th week. In this chapter, where we're getting more advanced, what I want you to understand is how to listen to your body. So some days you're going to need a full rest day. If you're tired or sore and you just feel like you've been really working hard, you need to recognize that as a sign of a full rest day. Full rest day is nothing hard. You might go for a short walk if you want to just move your body a little bit, but not a long walk, not a fast walk, easy walk. Or rest, get on your back and take naps. If you are having trouble sleeping, like you're really irritable during the day, and then at night you're just like restless and you're having trouble sleeping, this could be a sign that your body needs more than 1 day of full rest. You might do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of full rest until you feel, I'm fully recovered. So look for signs of irritability, faster heart rate, bad sleep. These are signs that you've been overdoing it and you need to rest. We don't want to get to that point. And so what we want to do is just listen to our body and do less than our body has the capacity for. We challenge our body's capacity in workouts and runs, but then we don't do that every single day. On the next day, I'm not going to challenge my body's capacity. I'm just going to do an easy day, make it nice and simple, not overload my body. And the next day after that, maybe I actually take a full rest day. On the 4th day, maybe then I challenge my body's capacity after a rest day. So it would be something like that. And eventually you need fewer rest days because you're better able to listen to your body and then scale back to a rest when needed. So in this way, we're listening to ourselves, looking for symptoms of overtraining and scaling back as needed. And if you can do that, then what you learn is how to challenge your body's capacity on some days while going really easy on others and full rest on others. And there's different ways to challenge your body's capacity. If you're running, an example would be a hard, fast run. But another example is a slow, long run where you're going longer distance or time. Those are both challenging to your body's capacity, even though they're very different speeds and distances. They're both challenging your body's capacity in some way. One is the ability to go fast and hard, and the other is the ability to go long and slow. Another similar one is if you do things with hills. That's challenging your capacity. It's like going fast. If you're running, you want to mix in, have mostly easy days. If you're running 7 days, have 4 or 5 easy days, 1 or 2 hard days, and 1 or 2 rest days. I know that doesn't add up to 7 days, so you're going to scale them. So let's say you had 4 easy days, 1 or 2 hard days, and 1 or 2 rest days. And that whether you do hard days or rest days really depends on how your body's feeling that week. If you do it like that, you will, again, assuming you're now at an advanced level, you will actually be able to progress over time. We want to have real slow progression at this point. We're not trying to progress every week. We're trying to progress over the course of months. And so really slow, really listening to your body, giving yourself the rest and recovery that you need, and also eating and sleeping well. If you don't eat and sleep well, and this applies back to chapters 1 and 2, but if you don't eat and sleep well, at this point, you are going to get burnt out and injured. I've done it myself. I know what it's like. Also, make sure you're having fun every single time. Find a way to have fun. And if you're not, if the joy has been drained out of it, this is a sign of overtraining as well. Find ways to make it more fun, but also get more rest and recovery. Eat more on those days when you feel no joy. We're going to talk more about food and nutrition in another video, and more about rest and sleep in another. But hopefully this will give you an idea of how to progress over time. Make sure you're having fun. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, loving yourself. Don't overdo it, and enjoy the progress.